welcome to RPM, Rock and Pop Mandolin, your destination, your site for learning classic rock songs on this wonderful little 8-stringed instrument. My name is Mike DeJong, and today we're looking at a classic rock song from the 90s, the Smashing Pumpkins' Disarm, a really fun song to play on the mando, and again, employing some open chords that translate really nicely to this instrument. But first, before we dive into the Smashing Pumpkins, I'd really like to thank all of you guys for subscribing to this channel. We've really grown quickly, surpassing 1,000 subs already in the first 3.5 months of this channel, so thank you very much for that. And for those of you who are new here, who haven't yet subscribed, please hit that little red button down there in the lower right corner. Really helps this channel to continue to grow into the future. By the way, we also have a new Patreon page. You can see the link down below if you'd like to help us with a very modest financial donation. Again, that would be much appreciated. If you check out our Patreon page, you will find some content there that is not on this YouTube channel. So check it out. There's going to be stuff there as well over the coming months. But now, without further ado, let's take a look at this 90s classic by Smashing Pumpkins called Disarm for RPM. All right, everybody, let's check out Disarm by the Smashing Pumpkins for mandolin. Starts off with a nice, powerful E minor chord. All right, so what are we doing there? Well, that E minor chord starts off with a really nice little strumming pattern there, and then to a C chord and that G chord, okay? Basically, your strumming pattern for this song, aside from that opening little thing and a few little flourishes during the verses, is like this, just downstrokes. Billy Corgan does a lot of downstrokes in this song on the guitar, so you can do that as well when you get to some of the chords, but there's also a very brief little, right? And that is just a down, up, down pattern, right? And I'll do it here, right? And he does that a few times throughout the verses and the choruses of this song. So especially at the beginning, right, on that E minor chord, right? And then there, again, on going to the G chord. So those chords are E minor, with the voicing down here at the 2nd fret of the D string, 2nd fret of the A string, and then up to a C chord here. So basically you just shift that note over on the A string to the 3rd fret, right, from the E minor. And then down to the G chord, you know the G chord down here, right? 2nd fret and 3rd fret. And then back to the E minor again. So let's do that opening pattern one more time. Okay, now from there on the last part of the G, what I do there on the G, the last part of the G, is a little bit different than what Billy Corgan does in the original track. What I'm doing there is going down to this F sharp note off the G chord, right? Right? And that's a little bit different than the original track where they stay on a D chord and then have the F sharp in the bass. Well, what I'm doing here is putting the F sharp as sort of a moving note in this pattern. So I'll show you it again. It goes E minor, C, G, and then hit that F sharp note as a kind of a passing tone back to the E minor again. So, and then later in the song he does the same thing, only he hits it a little bit like that. You just have to listen to the song closely to see where he just does it once. He goes as a passing tone, and where he hits it a little harder like that to give it a little more emphasis. He varies it up in the song at different points. So you want to listen to the track, the original track, to hear where he's doing it. And I recommend that you play along with these songs if you can. You know, a song like this, you can easily just play along with the CD or the track and get the chords down. Okay, and the only other part that you have to worry about is a bit later in the song, after the main lick. So instead of doing the the little walk down to the F sharp note, which by the way is at the 4th fret of the D string, in case I didn't mention that earlier. Instead of that, he goes into an open D, right? And then used to be a part of me, right? All right, so what am I doing there? Well, I'm going from the G to the D and then to a C. Used to be a little boy, right? And then E minor to D. All right, so C, and stay on that C with some downstrokes for a little bit, and then E minor to D, right? And then back C. E minor to D, and then right back to Disarm You with a Smile, the original opening part. Right at the end of the song, Billy Corgan changes up that pattern a little bit from the C to the E minor to the D. He actually goes from the C right, and ends on a C. So what's that pattern? Well, it's a D to the E minor, a D to the E minor, a D to the E minor again, and then ends on the C chord. And that's the Smashing Pumpkins' Disarm for Mandolin, a great song to play on this 8-stringed instrument, really fun, and some really cool strumming patterns for you to get under your right hand. My name is Mike DeJong. Thanks very much for tuning in to RPM and for supporting us, for subscribing to this channel if you have already. If you haven't, please hit that little red button down there in the lower right corner to subscribe. Also, please check out our Patreon link down below if you'd like to help us even further with a very modest financial donation. Once again, thanks very much for tuning in to RPM Rock and Pop Mandolin.